Isaiah Rodgers made history for the Vikings this past weekend. PFF history. The first ever perfect grade in a game. A 99.9 PFF grade against the Bengals this past week. Dalton, we're here to break it down right now. First off, how on earth do you get a perfect PFF grade? It's never happened in the, almost 20 years now that we've been doing this. How do you get a perfect PFF grade?
I mean, first of all, you make spectacular high-end plays, right? And you look at this stat sheet, you're talking about a guy, a pass breakup on T. Higgins in the end zone, we're going to show in a minute. That's pretty good. A pick six, that'll do it. That usually you get a pick six, you got a pretty high grade for the game. 2 forced fumbles, 2. I'll tell you what, Charles Tillman needs to start getting royalty checks for these every time Peanut Punch gets said on these broadcasts, because Isaiah Rodgers did it twice in this game, scooped one himself and scored. And on top of all of this, on top of all the great plays, you also have to avoid negatives. He played 41 snaps in this game. Not a single time did he earn a negative grade. So you've got high-end plays, you've got no low-end plays, just fantastic stuff all the way around from Isaiah Rodgers. He didn't play in the fourth quarter in this game because he didn't have to, but 41 snaps is plenty well enough to get him this perfect grade, and this stat line is just ridiculous. You will almost never see this again from an individual player. Just an unreal effort all the way around, especially in coverage.
So this is the highest graded game we've ever seen by an individual player. Dalton, let's show the other highest graded games we've ever seen, too.
Who does he beat out? So we got Isaiah Rodgers here at the top. Steelers legend tight end Matt Spaeth, who one time had 11 positively graded run blocks on just 23. So he was so dominant as a run blocker. Plus, he caught a touchdown in a game for the Steelers in 2012. Lamar Jackson against the Bengals in 2019, his first MVP year. I believe that was the game where he had the famous spin move, and Kevin Harlan was on the call against the Bengals, and what is it? He broke his ankles. I think that was that game. Look at this. Look at this right here, tied for third. Penei Sewell. We had 2 of the 4 highest graded games in PFF history this week with Isaiah Rodgers and Penei Sewell tying Lamar Jackson for third, and then Andrew Whitworth down here in a game in 2010, a 98.4. Just, I mean, future Hall of Famer, I think, Andrew Whitworth, just a fantastic player. He was for so long. But I mean, you look at just this list, it's an interesting list considering some of the names, but I'll tell you what, that you get above all of these names, especially Jackson and Sewell and Whitworth, and you have the first perfect grade in PFF history, boy, you really did something right.
Before we move on, I just want to remind people, we actually put out a Penei Sewell video too, breaking down his highest graded game by an offensive lineman ever in PFF. If you want to check out what he did in week 3 too, to get that grade, check it out here on this channel. But Dalton, let's dive into the perfect game from Isaiah Rodgers.
All right, let's go in order of, I think, the 4 biggest plays that contributed to this and what's going to happen here first. Okay, so what's funny to me is that 3 of these 4 plays I'm going to show you, it's actually with Isaiah Rodgers playing in cover 2. Brian Flores likes to mixing some cover 2 snaps. Now, last year, when you want a fun stat, when Isaiah Rodgers was with the Eagles, you know how many snaps of cover 2 that he played under Vic Fangio?
How many?
1.
Wow.
They don't run cover 2 in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They don't run cover 2 in Philly. They used to do it a little bit back in his Indianapolis days under those, I think Matt Eberflus he started with back in the day. And with the Colts he did it, but it's been a while since he ran any cover 2. So it's, a new system, new team. And look, I thought Rodgers was a very good signing for Minnesota, good value signing. I think it was 99.9 good, but let's go with this. Here's what you're going to get. Okay, he's going to get high load. He's going to get high load here. You're going to get kind of a variant of a smash route here. He's going to have the flat here in cover 2. All right, this is going to be that simple. Now, the thing about this cover 2 look, and this is where Brian Flores is going to get real fancy with his defense. He's the mad scientist. It's actually going to be inverted. So what you're going to get safety dropping down in here to the hook curl. You're going to get this safety going to this half. It's going to be rotated. There's going to be kind of one side's going to be inverted. It's going to be rotated. And then we're flat here. We're flat here, and we're dropping off in here into the hole. So we got a lot of rotation going on. So as if Jake Browning's job wasn't hard enough against this Vikings defense, he's trying to read an entire rotation and all the nonsense Brian Flores is throwing at him. Now, all right, let's take a look at this defense. Now it looks like a straight cover 2 look, post-rotation, right? So Isaiah Rodgers' job here as the flat corner is to balance these 2 things, is to sink back far enough to about, right here is at about 7 yards. You can sink back to about 10 or 12 to really keep the balance going between maintaining this leverage on this deeper receiver and then being ready to break on this flat receiver as things start to break down. Now, Jake Browning in the pocket, going to get some pressure going. He looked to the front side for a second. Now he's going to look to this drive concept, but the pressure's really bothering him because we know how the Bengals' offensive line is. So Rodgers' job out here, just keep maintaining. No matter where Jake Browning looks, maintain the leverage between these 2 receivers. Next slide. Now, Browning has to slide to his left. He's coming back to the front side. He's going to throw this football. Chase Brown. Now, you see, Rodgers, he's actually in the right place here, okay? In between. Maintain the leverage between the deep and the short and react to either. Keep in mind on an inside move, you still have Harrison Smith in here messing around. You know he's a Hall of Fame caliber safety too. He's going to be around the football. So what's going to happen? He sees Chase Brown adjust inside to the seam, try to split this cover two. He knows the safety's got help for him out here on the outside, so he's going to start to drift in here a little bit. Now, is this a play where he had some help because this ball got tipped? I'll show that in a second. Sure, but you don't make the spectacular and the lucky happen without having your fundamentals sound first. So you kind of create your own luck in this spot. Go to the next slide. The ball is thrown. Actually, I should go back here for a second. The ball is thrown to Brown right in here. Smith tips this ball in between, and Rodgers, because his positioning is great, is going to pick this ball off on the tip. And keep in mind, now when you talk about him scoring 2 touchdowns in this game, this guy used to return kicks. He knows with the ball in his hands. He knows with the ball in his hands that he wants to go and score. He wants to turn this game over. And I'll tell you what, this is the first reason. Fun stat. I mean, he outscored the Bengals by himself. Isaiah Rodgers 12, Bengals 10. But at this point, interception, get back up, house it, kind of playing kick return again like we used to with Indianapolis. All right, next play. This is fun. Because now, everyone sees the touchdowns and the big flashy stuff. But, again, Brian Flores, mad scientist, Jake Browning. We're showing pressure here. Flores with one of his patented 0 blitzes. What does that mean? Rodgers down here, you're one-on-one with T. Higgins. Tough assignment, right? Isaiah Rodgers is 5'10". T. Higgins is 6'5". All right, so Jake Browning's going to feel like, all right, pressure's coming. One guy's going to drop off in here into the hole. We've got man-to-man out here. We've got this safety rotating to the tight end man-to-man. And, of course, inside here, I believe that's Byron Murphy who's got Jamar Chase. So you know what? Jake Browning's going to say, hey, I got T. Higgins on a go ball. Pressure's coming.
He's got 7 inches on him, yeah.
He's got 7 inches on him. Let's go one-on-one. All right, fine. Again, technique, fundamentals are going to lead to the spectacular. Let's go to the next slide here. Now, what I like about this is, okay, Browning's under pressure. He's going to throw a ball off his back foot. Cool. With Isaiah Rodgers here, what you want to do first and foremost as a corner, especially in man coverage, because let's go back real quick. I want you to see that little bit of inside leverage he has here, about a foot inside T. Higgins. That's by design. And he's going to keep that inside leverage the whole way. What's going to happen? See, again, he's keeping that inside leverage. Make the quarterback make the tougher throw. The tougher throw is outside and over the top. So the fact that he's got his eyes on the quarterback and the football and he's keeping this inside leverage, really good technique there to start. That's going to drag all the way out when we get into the end zone. Now, in basketball, when you have, say, smaller guys who are really good rebounders, right? One guy's 6'4" and the other 6'9", and yet the 6'4" guy gets the rebound. You talk about the box out, it's exactly what you're getting here. That inside leverage helps eventually. Look at the positioning. T. Higgins is going to have to go over his head with this throw being just a tad short. It's not getting to the back pylon. You've got the box out here from Rodgers. So even though Higgins has 7 inches on him, fantastic technique, plus his eyes to the football. Ball's in the air right now, and it becomes a jump ball situation, kind of like in basketball, but he's boxed out. He gets up here, and look at the hands, too, the hand technique. They always talk about get your hand in between the receiver's hand. That's exactly where it is. Get the break up on a 50-50 ball to T. Higgins, one of the best 50-50 receivers in the NFL. That's big time right there. So that's a play I think that'll get lost. That gets very highly graded in our grading scale, too, with the pass breakup and the coverage that went into it as well.
50-50 balls for T. Higgins are like 70-30 balls for him.
Exactly. But if you play it with this level of technique, fantastic stuff. Now we're going to get to the fun part. We're going to get to the fumbles and all of this. So here's what's going to happen. Again, Brian Flores, this is where you put pressure on an offense, and we'll look at all these guys on the line of scrimmage, okay? So the Bengals, they're bringing pressure. This is all in sequence, too, these 4 plays right here. So get the pressure look coming. What are the Bengals going to respond with? Okay, we're just going to run a quick screen to get around this. Here they come. Now, you think that's what they're doing, but what's actually happening is they're going to drop this. They're going to drop this off a little bit. They're going to drop this off. And we're going to get back, and what's going to happen, we're sitting in the hole here, and actually, this is going to drop into a cover 2 look, okay? Here, flat down here. And Rodgers up here at the top is actually, now here's another cover 2 invert. He's playing the deep half, and then we got the deep half out here. So, again, we haven't played a whole lot of cover 2, but in this defense, Brian Flores is asking him to do a lot of different things. Here's what's going to happen. Inside block here from the receiver. Cool, and we're just going to kind of run a little flat screen right out here. We're going to get Noah Fant the ball quick. Because we think pressure's coming, because they showed it on the last play, especially from this side. We don't know pre-snap that they're dropping off. They're going to drop off. We're going to run this little screen. Cool. All right. Now we get here. And normally what happens in cover 2 is because before he's the corner, so he's the furthest outside defender, and, it's a different adjustment when he has to play that deep half. So he still has to understand, so often the safeties have the alley in here. He does not. He's the corner. He's not going to trust the defensive lineman to keep contained on this. So Rodgers still has the outside. He has to protect the sideline here. Ball's going to get to Fant. We're going to get a block on the inside. So he still has to attack this properly. Again, this doesn't happen without good fundamentals and knowing where you're supposed to be. So inside, outside here with Rodgers. Fant, at the very worst, might get a 3 or 4 yard gain out of this as long as this is done properly and the tackling is done properly. Now, we get even better than that because what ends up happening? I'm going to show you again here. Again, you see this inside-outside level right here? Boom. Inside, outside. All he's got to do, okay, put 2 hands on the football, in theory, get your 4 yard gain, get out of there. But Rodgers, what he does, and Max, what do I always say about ball carriers? What do you got to do?
Outside hand.
Put the ball in your outside hand. Well, Noah Fant didn't do anything wrong because, in theory, Isaiah Rodgers with the ball in his outside hand is the only guy that could possibly punch this out. But, of course, he does it. And it's just ridiculous, the instincts of this guy to just see, okay, and you see it more and more in the league now where they're teaching all these guys that peanut punch. Like I said, Charles Tillman needs a royalty check at some point here. But you see, Rodgers is squared up. The technique is perfect. Right up. He could just make this tackle for a 3 yard gain, and I'd be like, hey, that's a really good play. But no, he's got to go and be a little bit extra about it and give this ball the right hook and punch it out. I mean, it's just unbelievable, an unbelievable level of awareness and playmaking that comes with this. That you go, okay, and then, of course, as quickly as he punched it out, boom, it's right in front of him. He's recovering it, and nobody's touched him yet. And again, now we're a kick returner. Go and score. That's his second touchdown of the day. That level of awareness with the peanut punch there, just ridiculous stuff. But it comes with the technique and knowing what you're doing first. Last one.
Before we do that, let's go back to this one. So explain the PFF grading scale. You told me before the show that you get a +2 for fumble recovery, forced fumble, right? And then another plus 0.5 to get a touchdown. So we grade on his -2 to +2 scale. This is the rare play where you get a +2.5 for this play,
That's a good call. I almost forgot about this. So at this point right here, where if you get a clear on our scale, if you get a clear punch out with the forced fumble, and it's not just like a lucky hit or a hard hit, if it's a clear punch out like this, we give you a 1.5. All right. Mm-hmm. Then we get to here, and pretty much any fumble recovery on the defensive side, because it's still a big play, right, to recover a fumble, we'll give you a 0.5 right there. So now we're already at 2.
Perfect play.
And then we're right there. It's like, wow, you forced and recovered a fumble all by yourself. Well, yeah, we're +2. You've already maxed it out. But then we give you a bonus and you go and score with it. Like before with the pick 6, you get a bonus. If you go and pick 6 or scoop and score, you get an extra 0.5. So it actually, on a 0 to 2 scale, he actually ended this play on a 2, and he broke the scale with this play. Big reason that he got that perfect grade as well.
You said there's only been like a handful of them ever, right?
Yeah, I'd have to go and look up how many, because I don't even know a clean way that I could look it up, because we don't have a 2.5 column in our thing to look it up. So I mean, literally broke the scale with this one play. That's how that happens. And then we're just going to show you the last one, the second forced fumble, real quick. All right, same thing. Back to more of a straight cover 2 look. This guy's going to drop off. 2 deep safeties here. We've got a lurk look with this safety. He's going to drop into the hole. Deep safety back there. Rodgers has the flat. Now, here's what's going to happen. T. Higgins, now the good thing about this, T. Higgins started on this side of the formation. He motioned up top. So Rodgers had to widen out and make sure nobody gets outside of him. Cool. What you're going to get is Jamar Chase sitting right in here on this little stick route. Higgins is going to be back here. Going to be, again, kind of that high-low concept that you have here. Josh Metellus in here should drive on this stick, but I'll show you in a second what he did wrong. Now, let's get to it. All right, again, if you're Isaiah Rodgers, fundamentals, keep the leverage between the two. Eyes on the inside, deep enough to play the backside behind you right there. Okay, cool. Metellus is here. This is really good defense. Plus, we get pressure on Browning. So you can see Browning's already pressured. He's looking to that front side. He's going to roll out to his right. All right, and Rodgers does everything right here. Now, some people might ask, now, okay, well, is this reception here? Chase is going to catch this ball. Is this reception here on Rodgers? No, he's doing his job. It's on Metellus for coming in after the quarterback and letting him go. So Metellus actually gets a negative grade here for leaving Chase and leaving him open. But is the play over? Absolutely not. So before we saw fundamentals leading to spectacular plays, this one's about playing to the whistle. Chase is going to catch this football. He's going to turn upfield. And Rodgers, knowing that Chase never saw him on the outside, keep chasing. Ironic. quarterback. But, you look at this here and you just look at the hustle and what comes with it. Chase is turning inside. He's one of the best players in football after the catch. Just keep playing to the whistle. Keep playing to the whistle. And look, again, Chase has the ball in his outside hand. He's not doing anything wrong there. But who's the one guy, especially in this game, he clearly wanted a perfect PFF grade in this game. Who's coming to get him? It's Isaiah Rodgers. Here he comes with the big right hand. Jamar Chase never sees him. Fumble. Somebody else recovers it. We talked about before, the play before was a 2.5. Somebody else recovered this and they didn't score, but for that straight punch out, that's another 1.5 level play. Just ridiculous stuff. You saw the hustle. You saw the execution of technique. You saw just everything you could possibly see out of a cornerback in one game. You saw it out of Isaiah Rodgers.
Isaiah Rodgers broke our grading scale by getting one of the only 2.5 plays we've ever given out at PFF, and you also broke the grading scale by getting the first ever perfect 99.9 PFF grade in the 20 years that we've been doing this.